All right, the ominous SB3 has just passed the House. With a dirty backdoor play at the 11th hour, they snuck in more anti-THC and overall ban language, and they were actually able to successfully get that through the House. Most, if not all, of the Republicans voting for this. It aims to basically wipe out businesses in Texas that are depending on hemp-derived cannabinoids, specifically THC. These businesses range from small local businesses to multi-state operations sold all across the country, legally, of course, and it's going to have a very huge impact here at home. And as we know, this bill will have a profound impact on businesses all across Texas, but also the United States. There's a huge market here from businesses that are bringing their product in from outside the state that are now not going to be able to take advantage of this market. So all eyes are on Texas right now. The eyes of the nation, the entire cannabis industry at large is on Texas and a select few other states that are seeing the exact same propaganda push, legislative ban, and legal issues when it comes to hemp and THC. We are moving backwards in time without a time machine somehow, and we are refusing to advance our cannabis, THC, or hemp laws to fit what exists, and that is the attitude of what seems to be the will of the body that the politicians are going to start using when pressed about these issues. Was the will of the body. The will of the body basically means that they all got together behind closed doors, behind legislation, and are dictating now a piece of our life and freedoms and dictating our access to something that is federally legal. So it's a very complex issue. And a lot of you that watch this show are very invested in this industry, whether you are using these products and using the access to hemp and THC to help your everyday life, or you're inside this industry where you have invested time and money to offer those products to the community. And both sides of this issue are equally concerned about the way forward. And that's really what I wanted to provide this video for. There are burning questions. I truly believe that this is a fatal blow to our industry, flat out. This is a time where we need to be very, very aggressive with our backup plans and our pivot plans on how we are going to adjust here. I don't see much of a way forward for consumable hemp products outside of CBG and CBD based on the way that the law is written. This doesn't apply to agriculture with the farm side and the plants. However, it depends, again, on what the TDA does on that side. And again, it's very difficult to get a plant out of the ground without any trace amounts of THC. And once you process that plant or harvest it, it becomes a product. And so it's very interesting landscape here for operators inside the industry. And for consumers, you're basically now criminalized for having low levels of THC or any hemp-derived product that have been legal for the past 6 years in Texas. You are now a criminal and subject to criminal penalty for those things. So that's kind of the state of where things are. This is not a law as of yet. So we still have to get this through the governor's desk, and he still has to sign it. If he does sign it, this will go into effect September 1st of 2025. What can you do? You can call the governor's office. You can mobilize the same exact way that we did for this bill, and you can continue to put in the time to send emails and make calls to the governor's office and make sure that he knows that you oppose SB3 and make sure that he knows the impact that it will have. Will the governor refuse to sign or veto a bill that was backed by basically all the Republicans? It's tough to say. That's a very difficult position for him to be in, or for me to even comment on. But I did want to set some expectations for everyone that a change to this entire landscape of legal THC or hemp products for grandma, for anybody, is absolutely about to change. And so we all need to be cognizant of that and prepared for that. I want to kind of give my take as an industry operator and, I guess somewhat of a leader here in this space for Texas. I want to give my opinion on why I believe things went this way. I know a lot of people are looking for answers, maybe calling their reps. The reason I believe things went this way was because at the end of the day, when they did the agricultural side of the hemp bills in 2018 and 2019 for federal in Texas, the intention was not to have a recreational cannabis market. I think we all can agree on that. I certainly do. The idea there was to empower farmers to be able to grow a new cash crop, expand what their portfolio was, help them make more money, and potentially put Texas on the path to be a pioneer in sustainable hemp production or agriculture. I think that the industry loves to push the envelope, as we should, especially within the complete confines of the law. And so as we saw room for cannabinoid and a demand for cannabinoid, I think things went in a different direction than maybe intentionally hoped on the legislator's side. Now, I will say this. They keep throwing around the fact that we strayed from the original path and the industry didn't do what they said they were going to do. I don't remember them asking us about any of that. I remember those legislators pleading to pass a agriculture bill back in 2019, and those legislators were the ones that were pleading, saying, no, the farmers will never do cannabinoid, or no, this market will never use the laws here to get recreational products out there. We didn't say any of that. We were not consulted on any of that. That was said multiple times on the floor. So as business owners and as farmers in agriculture, we did what we had to do, which was follow the demand. And that led us to where we are today. There were very important pieces throughout that timeline that happened that put the hemp market, the THC market, on the map for Texas. There are many people that we know that are responsible for that. And it was a good thing because it was truly showing how powerful the hemp plant was and how powerful the cannabis plant was for people's everyday life and health. And I believe that it broke down a lot of the stigma in Texas on the fact that hemp or cannabis would completely shut down our society and completely ruin our lives. It didn't for 6 years. So now we are basically experiencing these same legislators that gave us this, trying to take it back and exert power over us in order to have leverage in certain situations. And I also believe there is a deep-seated personal dick measuring contest going on in the legislature of Texas for people like Dan Patrick, Senator Perry, and all of their other little minions throughout the legislative body, that they were absolutely embarrassed, angry, and pressured by large entities and donors to ban hemp because of the existence of what I believe is probably the stain on our industry. And it is this excessive alt cannabinoid library and profile that a lot of people in hemp are pushing. And now I'm speaking directly to my friends and family in the real cannabis sector, meaning you're operating in other states that have legalized cannabis for recreational and medical use, and you hate hemp deep in your heart. I know you hate hemp, or you at least have some animosity to the hemp market. But let me explain to you the real truth of how operators feel in Texas, especially the growers. We had to advance this plant by any means necessary. And I know that if the same choice was given to you and you were in a prohibition state like Texas, that you would be pushing the envelope as well. And we saw a route in hemp to be able to cultivate plants, process those plants, vertically integrate our entire business, and serve our community with clean, safe, and effective in-house made product that was not imported, it was not tainted, and it was third-party lab tested. That is probably the safest that you can possibly get. And honestly, there are plenty of dispensaries and markets out there in the legal space that let those kind of things slip. We all know that that's true. We had an opportunity to advance the plant, Delta-9 THC, and CBD in our state through the hemp program. And we chose to do that because within the confines of the law, we were actually able to start a business and operate here in Texas immediately. And we were also able to process money, bank with a major bank, pay our taxes, write off our expenses. We saw a way to establish ourselves and put ourselves on the radar inside of the cannabis sector by utilizing hemp. In no way are we anti-cannabis people. And I think that that's an interesting mark that we get for this. We are not anti-cannabis, but oftentimes cannabis people are anti-hemp, which is a lot of also what we saw through this legislative process was a lot of medical cannabis and failing cannabis, quite frankly, trying to put some more of their money on things like donating to politicians. We were pushed on by these outside forces, and what we saw was an absolute culmination of all of that coming down on our legislature to effectively pass something that bans an 10 billion-dollar industry, a revenue generator, a tax revenue generator. They chose to pass that or to ban that and pass this legislation. So the only thing and the best thing that we can do at this point is to urge the governor and call his office, urging them to veto the bill, not sign it, and kill this. That is our last and only hope, in my opinion. And that is the number one thing to do. All of that information will be in the description of this video. If you'd like to reach out to the governor's office, you can also literally Google contact Texas governor office, and it will give you all the information. It's just the same as calling any of your representatives. You'll likely get a staff member, but you can obviously put stuff on the record and leave a message for them and leave your opposition. There is a long drawn out war on this plant, especially in the hemp sector. And obviously we are seeing some of those repercussions here with what Texas is doing. But again, just encourage everyone to keep up the actual fight and the morale of the industry and just become tighter than ever. And we'll obviously get through this one way or another, right? And prevail. And so we can keep pushing for this plant in many ways. And I think that we have a great industry and foundation here in Texas to fight anything that they throw our way. And to say the fight is not over is absolutely true. It's not over until the fat lady sings or the governor signs the bill, but absolutely prepare out there for some state of regulation and some very, very extreme state of change for this industry. And that's not me trying to force doom and gloom. I am a very positive, optimistic person, but that is kind of the way that I'm reading things and the landscape that I am expecting here soon. Another thing I want to make sure that everyone understands, and this is the way that I feel, but how we act right now when we're losing is more important than how we act when we win. And I say that because with all of the press that these people have put out there against us to try to make us look like criminals or that we're less than and that we are exploiting a system and all these different things, if we act out and we lash out and we say fuck Texas or fuck these people, and we kind of take to social media and take to the phones and lash out at our representatives, that almost speaks more volumes than if we won and we're acting on our P's and Q's. And so I think now is a very important time for everyone to just take a deep breath, take a step back, look at your operation and your entity, look at yourself as an entrepreneur or a consumer, and think about what is the next step, what is right for you. And where is that? Where are we going to go here in Texas when elections come up and when the next legislative session comes up? Nothing is just given, right? We have to definitely carve ourselves a way forward and work with some of our legislatures to provide legislation that will move hemp or cannabis and THC forward in this state, but the right way. At the end of the day, the people here who are here to fight for Texas and want a piece of this market and a piece of this industry here can truly craft some amazing legislation that works for everyone. And I think we saw that in the committee substitute. That was a damn close try at getting something that really did work and really reined in the playing field for this industry. We did not get that version. When people ask for your help or they create these coalitions or these business councils and they ask people to get involved, it oftentimes is super necessary as long as you find the people that are doing the right things and are pushing the right message and using potentially your money and donations the right way. There's a reason to fight for this plant. There's a reason to fight for hemp specifically. I believe hemp can change the world and it's federally legal, so you gotta love that. But I believe that there's so much more here for us. And even though there is a bit of doom and gloom and uncertainty at the moment, we're gonna be fine. The show will live on. We have plenty of contacts to explore throughout the industry nationwide. So from existing industries to industries on the breaking point to brand new cannabis frontiers. We have contacts and people embedded in every single stage of everything across the country. And we're going to continue to bring that types of content to you on this channel. So again, prepare for a vast change in this industry. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps, as we say here, and get out there and make a change, adjust, and keep fighting. Make your voice heard with the governor. Tap in with certain things like the Texas Hemp Business Council, myself, all these different people that have groups and entities that are here to help you find the information and get the information you need. This is not the end of everything, and we will see you guys on the next one.